Okay, so Boise here from the Discord group. Quite a keen new player to Weave, very excited about it. Ran my first game the other day, absolutely amazing. First time players of an RPG, they didn't even know they were playing an RPG. Had an amazing time. So hoping to run lots more games, and I've done lots of streaming in the past on Twitch, doing some painting tutorials, and some video gaming and things like that. So I'm familiar with Twitch, and played lots of Dungeons & Dragons in Roll20 and things like that. So it got me thinking about how could we all play Weave online together. So what I've done is, and I'll put these links in the description of the video, I've used an Android emulator on my Windows PC called Memu, and then you can just go through the Play Store, load up Weave, which is on the right-hand side of your screen. And then I'm using a piece of software called XSplit, just using the free account, hence the watermark down in the corner. And that does everything I've always needed. I've never really needed to pay. I think OBS is free, but I find that a little bit more complicated to get started into, and I had a few problems. So Memu for the Android emulator, and XSplit for your broadcasting software, and then just using Google Hangouts. So I'm in Google Hangouts now. I could invite people and start playing the game so they can see my screen. And one thing to experiment with is perhaps can we scan the actual image on the screen? So if I flip a card for the players and pop it down there, maybe can they scan that with their camera, or perhaps so I've got two webcams on the go. There's one down here that's going to be for gameplay. So people who are playing can see my dice rolls, perhaps if I roll for them, and they can see cards that I pull off the deck for them. But off screen, you can't see it, is another camera, webcam, that should, there we go, scan the cards for me, and maybe the players could put their phones up to the screen. And in fact, I'm going to go get my phone now and just test that actually and see if that does work. So I'll have to cut this bit out because it'd be very boring for you. So I'm back with my phone. Let's put this on full screen. It's asking for me to scan a card, point the camera at my screen. That's because I'm seeing it backwards. Let me scan now, and yeah. So just show you guys. On there you can see my phone and my MasterCard has scanned that perfectly fine off the screen of my computer. So what does that mean? That means that I could scan cards in for people, and then they could scan them off their computer screens as they're playing along, which is good to know. Like I say, they can see the dice. I can show them cards or scan them in for them. Let's see if I can scan off the smaller camera. So let me get, because that's backwards for me while I'm broadcasting. So I need to go back to XSplit. Let's see if I can scan from that smaller image. So rescan. Yes, I can. Brilliant. So there again, it's scanned the tortoise. So this is working very nicely. So the order to do things in is, you'll need to know this because it took me a while to figure this out. Let me get my screen back up. So you need to load up Memu. And then Weave within that, and only have one camera, one webcam plugged in while you're loading up Memu, and then that Memu will take over that webcam, and when Weave loads up, it'll find that webcam, and you'll be able to scan and use that. Because if you start up any other programs that are using that webcam, it'll stop Memu from using that. And I made that mistake yesterday. I started up XSplit first and loaded up all my cameras for that, then started up Memu and couldn't figure out why it wasn't working anymore. And then, so once you've got Weave in Memu working, scanning okay, then load up XSplit. And then you can plug in your other camera, which is this one, the Dice Cam. So I plugged that in, and then that works fine. And then just go to Google Hangouts, and then within Google Hangouts, you'll have a third webcam, which is called XSplit. So XSplit actually broadcasts as a webcam. So when you're in Google Hangouts, you choose that as your webcam, and that shows anything that you've predefined. So in XSplit, I predefined that I wanted to show the Weave Memu. In XSplit, I chose that I wanted to have this Weave image. I could even, let's say, let's do a quick Google search. Let's say we're playing Gloomies, and they're approaching a spooky school. Go to Google Images, find a suitably spooky school, save image, and then in XSplit, I could. So you'd have all these images prepared, but I can go to add image, pictures. Where's the spooky school gone? There it is. Open. You know, and you'd have all these prepared, but I'd show, you know, you're approaching this school, bats flying everywhere, full moon out. So kind of set the scene. I suppose it depends how what kind of GM you are and what kind of players you have. My little girl's knocking at my office door, so I better go. I think that's pretty much explains everything. But yeah, you might not want to add images. You might want people just to imagine it all in their heads. So you need Memu. Load that up with one camera plugged in, and that will set that to Memu and Weave, so you can do your scanning. Then load up XSplit, plug in your camera that you want to use for your dice and your cards down here, and then load up Google Hangouts and choose XSplit as your webcam. So I hope that's been useful. And someone else is demanding me right now, so I better go.